Welcome to Advocates for Change. Advocates for Change is a program created by the Shoenberger Public Interest Foundation to highlight the inspiring work of nonprofit organizations in the Chicago area. My name is Carolyn Orzak Shoenberger. I am the Executive Director of the Shoenberger Public Interest Law Foundation. Our work is to assist other nonprofits achieve their missions through volunteer work, donations, and programs such as Advocates for Change. Prior to creating this foundation, I served as the Commissioner of Consumer Services for the City of Chicago for 15 years, as an Assistant State's Attorney, as a member of the Business Department at Harold Washington College, and as the Supervising Attorney of the Immigration Program at the Chicago Legal Clinic, among other organizations. Most recently, I was honored to teach a course in macroeconomics at Arupe College of Loyola University. I am thrilled to have Hernan Prieto with me today, who is the Immigration Program Manager for Irish Community Services and is a Justice Department accredited lay representative. I have worked with Hernan and the Irish Community Services for many years. Welcome to Advocates for Change, Hernan. Can you give us brief information about some of the work, and then I know we want to talk about DACA.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Caroline, for the invitation to be here one more time. Today I bring some good tips about DACA and how to renew and when to renew the DACA application. I know that many people of our audience are DACA recipients, so I'm pretty sure we have some interesting information for all of them.
Now, I think we have a PowerPoint on the DACA program with us. If not, we'll just continue. Tell me where Irish Community Service is located.
Yes, we are at the northern west corner of Chicago. We are at 4626 North Knox Avenue at the Irish American Heritage Center.
Great. And so here's our PowerPoint, and let us know about DACA, because now's a good time to renew.
Absolutely. So DACA, for many of you may know, it's a protection for some undocumented immigrants who came to the United States when they were children. And the good thing about this is that they provide an authorization to work.
That's really important.
What also is important to understand that it has to be renewed every 2 years, Caroline. And I think that is the important thing for everyone to remember. Every 2 years, it needs to be renewed.
So there are no new applications, but if you already have a DACA status, that's not enough. You have to go in, you have to renew it.
That's correct. Unfortunately, we are right now in a court injunction, so there's no new application. Right. But all those applicants who had before a DACA application approved, they can now keep processing the renovation of those applications.
And does Irish Community Services help people with DACA renewals?
Yes, we are, as part of the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights, we provide services, and within those services we have the DACA renewal services. So what we do is we help them preparing the application, we provide all the material for them to file their case, and we represent them. And luckily, they can obtain the authorization to work.
So, assuming that I have a DACA and I'm 18 years old or 19 years old, I've had DACA for a couple years, but now it's time to renew. What do I do?
So the first thing I would say is get your authorization card document, or the AD document. Is that red card that most applicant recipient had, and check what are the dates you have on that card. See what is the expiration date of that card, because that will tell you when your application needs to be renewed. So usually we say don't start later than 150 days before that. So within 150 days is the perfect time frame to start your application process.
Is there any reason why 150? Is it so that it comes in time, or?
So right now we are seeing some delays in the processing. Here in Chicago, we are experiencing around 105 days of delay for the application. So that's why we say around 150 days is the perfect time to start the application. We cannot process before 150 days. So right when you hit the 150 days mark, it's when you should start the application process.
So it's 150 days and I want to renew. What do I do?
What do you need? Well, first of all, I would say get your past DACA application, the one that you applied last year. You can always contact your attorney, the organization that had helped you, or get a copy from your records to keep the same information matching in the new application. So that one thing. Also, you will need to have your current driver license or state ID, your current authorization document, the red card that we just mentioned, and also you should check that's correct. That's the authorization card document, and you can see that on the very bottom you will see two different dates. Those are the important dates that you need to look. You need to see what are the expiration date of that card.
So you get the documents, and with 105 days, if you, let's say 105 days is when you apply, that might mean that your employment authorization lapses. Can you lose your job?
Well, technically, yes. So that's why it's important to have always a valid employment authorization document. So to avoid that, apply with time.
Okay, so you bring your documents that you filed in the past, your employment authorization card. What else do you need?
Well, you need to check what are the current fees, because I have some news for you, Caroline. USCIS had updated the new fee schedule. So there's new fees. So they're different from last year. And so since April 1st, we have new fees for pretty much all immigration benefit, but for DACA application, we have new fees. Right now, we have two different options. If you're applying online, it's $555. But if you are applying in paper form, like we used to do long time ago, the current price is $605.
So that's a $50 difference.
There's a $50 difference.
Wow.
Yeah, that $50 difference has to do with online processing, how fast apparently the online process is going versus the paper form.
And is it better to file online in addition to the fact that you don't have to pay $50 more?
Technically not, but what we are experiencing is that online processing goes a little bit faster than paper form.
Oh, that's certainly good.
That's something that you should consider if you are trying to apply.
So you bring your things, you bring a money order for the fees?
You can bring a money order, a cashier check, or credit or debit card, and you can pay that online.
Oh, that's great.
That's great. Yeah, it's a great service that USCIS has now with the online processing.
And so photos or what other?
What are the other documents? Usually the typical document. We are going to talk on the typical case because there's each immigration case is different, as you
Yes.
may know very well. Technically, what you need to bring is your past employment authorization card, your driver license or state ID, a passport if you ever had a passport, even if it's not current, even if it's expired, have your passport, and a photo, a passport style photo.
I see. And do you have to bring like your police record or anything like that?
Well, if it happened that you had some criminal convictions in your past, you need to disclose them. And also, this is something very important, and thank you, Caroline, for bringing it up, because you may know that if an applicant had more than two convictions, that can jeopardize their future in the States with this benefit, with the DACA. So it's good to have a criminal record before applying.
And the other thing is that a lot of people are sort of embarrassed. I understand because I did something stupid.
It's understandable.
It's understandable, but you've got to tell the person who's helping. You've got to tell Hernan. Don't keep it a secret. I've had clients on occasion who really I have to pull things out of because they're embarrassed, and it's like, but it'll hurt you, and I want to help you.
Right. So what we always recommend is full disclosure with the attorney, the legal representative who is helping you with this application, because something that it might be small in the past, or that you may consider that this is not important, or even your attorney, the judge said, you know what, you should not take care about this because in the future this will be erased from your records. You should come up full disclosure to your attorney, to your legal representative, so they can provide the correct advice for your case.
Okay, well, let's dive into just that a little bit. So you did something stupid. You have a conviction for a DUI, a misdemeanor conviction. Actually, you have two misdemeanor convictions. You're done.
You're done, sadly. Yes,
Okay, you're
yes.
done.
That's why we always say, go get the advice of an attorney, a legal representative who can help you with this, because there's, as you just said, with some convictions, you can jeopardize the future of your application and the future of your stay here in the country.
So, but what if I go and have the records expunged? I go into court and I get the records, they're expunged, the records are sealed.
So
it's gone.
It's gone. It's gone for many different employers, landlords, or other entities. But for immigration, unfortunately, those records still there.
So it's important, whatever the conviction is, to make sure Hernan or someone who's helping you are aware of it, and you can go to the Daily Center, you can get certified copies. What if your document was already expunged or sealed? You have to go to court and unseal it, get copies, and then seal it again, and then bring it to Hernan.
That's right. So that's why it's important. Again, I won't stress this enough. It is important to get the advice of an attorney who is familiar with immigration law, or a legal representative who knows and understands the immigration system, so they can provide you the right advice. Because we know that many people, especially for immigration, many people, they want to help, but they're not allowed to help. And right now we are seeing many cases of scam and fraud due to people trying to help applicants to obtain some immigration benefit, even if it's DACA, citizenship, or adjustment of status. They say, I will help you with your paperwork. But we have to say that sometimes a good advice is to not trust in anyone, just in the people who are allowed to practice law.
So, notario, this was a big issue of mine when I was commissioner and when I was in the state's attorney's office. I think a lot of them are calling themselves paralegals right now. But a notario is like a judge, almost in other countries. So when someone says notario, people from other countries say, oh, that's very impressive.
It's a different thing, right?
Yeah.
So for many Latin American countries, to be a notario, you have to go through law school. You need to know how to draft contracts. You need to understand different commercial, civil law, criminal law. But here in the States, to be a notary, it's a whole different thing. So anyone with good criminal record can be a notary here. But it's not the same to be a notario. So when a notario says that I can help you with your immigration paperwork, they might not be allowed to practice that.
And even worse, may take your money and you get bad advice and you get deported.
That's right. Because at the very end, they are not allowed to practice law. So you can enter into full faith with a notario who promise that they will help you with your case, but at the very end they are taking your money and they're not helping you at all. So if there is a recommendation that we can give to everyone here is stay away from notarios who say that will help you with your immigration case.
So after I get all these documents together, I make an appointment with you. We should give you the telephone number or address, or
yeah, we can help you. We mentioned before, Irish Community Services is devoted to help immigrants to obtain different immigration benefits. Among them, DACA is one. So if you or you know anyone who is eligible to apply for DACA, send them to our organization. You can contact us at irishchicago.org. or also you can call ICER, the Illinois Coalition for Immigrants and Refugee Rights, and they will direct it towards us.
So Irish Community Services, your PowerPoint is both in English and Spanish, not only helps people from Ireland or of Irish descent, but helps people from many other countries.
Right. So our organization started as a community-based organization serving the Irish and the Irish American diaspora here in the Chicago area. And it grew up to provide services now to everyone, regardless of their country of origin. And right now we are serving a big cohort of Spanish-speaking clients, and we are very proud of it. It's not what we do for the Irish, it's what we do because we are Irish, right?
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And so people should take advantage of it. So they bring you the papers, they make an appointment, you go in, and then what happens?
And then what happens? Usually what we do an initial intake where we assess their eligibility and if this is the right moment for them to apply. We gather all the documents together. We answer some eligibility questions. We complete their case and we submit their case. And usually within 100 days, we obtain an answer about their case, if it was approved or not, and if the case that the DACA application was approved, the new employment authorization card is produced and sent to our client's address.
Are there any cases where they want more information or they deny the DACA?
Again, each immigration case is different, but in general rules, if an application was approved before and there's no new criminal records, there's no life circumstances that have changed dramatically, most of the time they are approved right away. But again, sometimes USCIS has the right to ask for more information, request some more evidence, and if that is the case, we help them preparing that evidence to send over to USCIS.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And how much do you charge for doing this great service?
Well, thank you for asking. We are a nonprofit, so all our fees are just low income. Our fees for low income clients. And right now we charge $50 for the DACA renewal. But if your income is under the 300 federal poverty line, that's easy to calculate with your last tax records. We can see if you can also get no fees involved, so we can pay for the whole process.
So it's important when to go with you to have some kind of proof of income.
That's if you are trying to apply for the scholarship that we also provide, we will need some evidence of income to assess if we can pay for the scholarship and pay for the processing fees as well.
That is fabulous.
It's a good service that ICER, the Illinois Coalition of Immigrant Refugee Rights, and Irish Community Services are providing right now.
No, that's great. That's great. And I imagine that there are some times of the year where you get a lot of people and people should not delay is really the big message.
If there is something that we can leave today is do not delay the processing. Once you see that your employment authorization card is soon to expire, contact us or contact one of our sister organizations and apply as soon as possible. Because as we mentioned before, there is a delay. There's around 105 days of delay. So you want to get that as soon as possible. And do not let your employment authorization card lapse.
Yep. From what I understand, you literally can lose your job, and even if you get it, the employer may not want to hire you back because actually the employer can be fined for having someone working there who does not have current employment authorization.
Not only that, you can jeopardize your permanency here in the country and your family. So why put yourself at risk?
Are there any more tips that you can give us about applying for renewing your DACA?
Well, as we mentioned before, check dates on your employment authorization card, process before the card expired. Check the current processing fees. As we are seeing from April 1st, those fees have changed, and seek the right advice. Do not let yourself scam by notarios or people who can help without authorization to provide that advice.
So on that topic, and very briefly, I just want to warn people about something that came to my attention. In representing someone seeking a guardianship for a disabled adult, una tutela, I think is what we say in French, or
In Spanish, yeah.
in Spanish, tutela in French, tutela in Spanish. There I go again. The mother was telling me that she was very excited that at some point her son would reach the age of 21 and then would be able to help her become a lawful permanent resident, which is the step before citizenship. So I asked the next question, how did you come into this country? And she said she came through the border, she was not stopped. Unfortunately, someone told her that that was enough. The fact that the son was 21, would be 21 at some point, and could apply for her to be able to become a lawful permanent resident, and that is not correct. People coming in, if there are no applications, they don't have any special circumstances, they come in off the border, they cannot get their green card in the United States, they have to leave, and unless there is a waiver of inadmissibility, which is like a telephone book explaining why they should be allowed to remain here for certain family members, that can only be signed, that cannot be signed by a son or a daughter. It can only be signed by a parent or a spouse, lawful permanent resident, United States citizen, which would mean that if she went to Mexico to get her visa, she would have to stay there for 10 years. So this advice, she said, was given to her by a lawyer. Be careful who you get information from, because sometimes it's not correct. A last thing before we close, I know you do a lot of citizenship work. Can you let us know a little bit about that?
Right. Another of the services that we provide at Irish Community Services is the service of naturalization. So if you or somebody you know is eligible to become a citizen of the United States, we can help them processing their case too. And we prepare their case, we file their case too. And there's also some scholarships available for them, so to process and pay for the fees. That right now it's around $755. So there's some funds to help them alleviate the processing fees.
And they're going to have to take a test.
They have to take a test. There's a 100 questions questionnaire that most applicants, they have to go through. And from those 100 questions, they have to answer up to 10 correct questions. Sorry, up to 6 correct questions from a test. They will have 10 questions.
So they have to study.
They have to study, yes. They have to study. They have to study history, civics, geography, and some national symbols.
And they have to be able to
write and read in English.
So some people, this is quite a challenge.
It is. It is for many people. It is for many people. That's why we also have some classes and preparation for the interview. Because as we mentioned, there's a whole test and assessment on English language that they need to go through.
And some of the questions, even lawyers get wrong. There's one question, when was the Constitution written? And most lawyers would say 1789. Well, that's actually not correct. It was written in 1787. It was adopted in 1789.
That's correct.
So there are little things there that even lawyers would.
We all had to study those questions, yeah? Yeah, if you are an immigrant and you went through a naturalization process, pretty sure you had to study those questions.
Okay, well, since we're wrapping up, I want to thank you for coming on my show. I want to thank you for the work that you do and the work that's done by Irish Community Services.
Thank you, Caroline. It's always a pleasure to come here and share some news for all your audience, and I'm pretty sure some of this information may be very useful for them or somebody in their families.
Well, we hope so, and I want to thank people for watching Advocates for Change, of which Irish Community Services and Hernan Prieto, you are advocates for change. Absolutely. Thank you very much. We will see you next month. Please make sure to watch out for our show.
Thank you.